Why, hello there, how are you today? Awesome Soul here, and I am here with another Robocraft Robot Review. This time, I am piloting the Stomper, made by ChickenDoom. So, it is a mech with inbuilt hovers, which I always like, and it's got plasma, it's got mega plasma, and it's got plasma, and more plasma, and rockets too. So, yeah, first thing, I have to say, the rather obvious problem with the build is two sizes of one weapon type. That is a massive no-no. You do not need that. It is pretty much a waste. If you do want to have one weapon type, just simply go with one or the other. Don't mix and match two. I see what you might have done here. You might have gone with a sort of like backup loadout because you want this mega plasma to stay safe. So maybe they'll go for the smaller ones, or they will fire all out the mega plasma, and then you'll still have your other plasma as backup. But in all honesty, I think, especially for this build, what you need to do is just go with the small plasma, because you already have the missile launcher as your sort of big mega weapon, quote unquote. And you don't really need the mega plasma. What you could also do, I guess, is strip off all of the normal plasma, keep the mega plasma, and put lasers instead of the smaller plasma. That would be pretty good. The thing here, though, is you don't really have the biggest power pool. You've got all these weapons here, but you're sitting at, what was it, 1,902 CPU, which doesn't really give you a whole lot to work with. Oh, where'd you go? So many cloakers. Oh, there you are. Must. Get. Kill. Yeah, there we go. Double kill, even though I stole the other kill. But yeah. Hello. You feeling okay, good sir? Anyways, yeah, so I honestly think your best choice, if you, for whatever reason, want to keep your current CPU cap, or CPU level, or whatever you want to call it, swap out the plasma, or the small plasma, for the smaller lasers. Or I guess the bigger, non-mega lasers. Hopefully you understand what I'm getting at here. Other than that, though, the frame itself is rather beefy, which obviously I do enjoy. There is one thing that I do need to point out, is the mount for the missile launcher could be better. Like a rod coming out of, say, the middle part, for example. That might add to the survivability of it. Now, I will talk about the missile launcher right now, because the way you have it built, it's got its perks, it's got its drawbacks, but mainly this configuration, at least in the way you have it here on an unslanted build, well, it's more of a drawback than anything. The one perk, though, is obviously you have to shoot through the entire chassis to get to it. Or, you could just sneak around the back, but that's not usually the case. More often than not, you're actually going to be facing the enemy, so your missile launcher should be safe. But the one bad thing here, a rather large bad thing, is that this thing pretty much can only hit things if you're aiming above it. And that is a really, 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 really big problem. So going back to what I said earlier about slanted builds. Now what I mean by that is exactly what it sounds like. You're building your build, or your bot, on a slant. So if you've ever seen those cruisers are the easiest way to make slanted builds. I'm gonna give up on this helicopter. That's too annoying. But yeah, cruisers, even though cruisers are not the greatest, FreeJam's still working on those. But yeah, those are the easiest way to build slanted builds. So you want to build on an angle. I don't really know how else to describe it. I think that does a pretty good job of describing it, so I will leave it there. But yes, if you do have that, then the camera will actually sort of, like, if you're aiming straight forward, you will be able to aim at people ahead of you, but with this unslanted build, you can't aim at people ahead of you. It will sort of aim off to the side or aim down. Here, I'll try and get a good example here. So yeah, I'm aiming forward. I'm not aiming at anyone. I'm being kind of useless right now, but see, it's sort of wobbling back and forth, up and down, side to side, never really aiming up. So you can't arc your missiles down on top of people, which I have seen a few builds do. Of course, all of those builds are slanted builds. So the main point that I'm trying to get at here is you may just want to go with a missile pod on the top. Find some way to mount it, either top mount or side mount. Back mount is not really your best option here. Alternatively, though, what you could do is just simply install a flak, because I noticed in your description of the robot it was meant for taking out flyers. That is pretty much the sole purpose of the missile launcher, and at that point you want to go with flak, because this thing can't hit ground bots unless the ground bots are somehow above it, which would really only be like sprinters, I guess, or mechs. That's really all you're gonna get, and you got the 3 seconds to launch, or to lock on rather, before you can launch your missiles. And by that time, they're on the ground, and then you're back to this big old wobbly mess back there. Now, the Megaplasma on top. It is in a good position when it comes to aiming. Ooh, sorry about that. I bumped into our ally there. But yeah, it is in a very good position when it comes to aiming. It's mounted slightly forward, so it has all of the downward arc. Even if it is top mounted, it still can aim fairly well at things sort of slightly below it. The one thing about back mounted, though, it is very satisfying to see them sort of arc up and out like that. Oh, so good. But aesthetics aside, yeah, change your missile mount. Of course, that's only a suggestion. But yeah, going back to, being sidetracked there, going back to the plasma position. I did notice that you aren't actually using the front mount. You're only using the back mounts for things. So, if I have it correct, it's the front arm there is mounted upon a rod, but it's not mounted, mounted on a strut rather. So it's obviously not connected to the strut because, there's no mounts on top of struts. They only have the 2 connection points, which are the little nubs at the beginning and the end of them. Speaking of the end of them, that was the end of me. We're pretty much neck and neck on this match. I am very glad, though, that this thing is holding up incredibly well. It's very beefy, that's for certain. I guess that's why it's a rather large CPU robot. Then again, it does have 2 legendary weapons on it. Come on. Come on. Ah, damn. Well, oh well. We tried. We got him to retreat back to his base. So, other things, I guess. The front plasma here, if you can kind of see them, there is a rod going underneath the shield there. That is rather nice. I guess you've been paying attention to the other videos where I talk about using rods to sort of do that. So it's not just mounted on the front, and if all the cubes on the front get taken out, then you're kind of screwed. Basically, they have to kind of dig into the core, or additionally, they can just take out the gun. But I mean, you can always just take out the gun. This just gives them one less option. Now they are forced to take out the gun, instead of just, shooting the cubes around it. Alright, we've lost our legs. How is the hovering? Slightly uncontrollable. That's probably because you've opted for the lower tier hovers, which have less of a carrying capacity. Oh, damn. Okay, last kill wins. Oh, he's gonna go down. Okay, how can we do this? You. I will get you, and you will... Oh, never mind. Somebody else got a kill. Very nice. Oh, actually, we got top spot. Huh. Sure. I'll go with that. And, as always, we have arrived back in the garage for the sort of final flyover. Now, this is what I was talking about sort of a few minutes ago, I guess. The mount here. This is a dead mount. It's completely useless, and you're not utilizing anything here. Basically, it is nothing but a detriment to the build. So what you could do, very, very simply, is take this, move that back to this cube. So these two mounts are on this cube. That will, at the very least, have this connected to here. Now, mind you, that's not really the best course of action, because this strut here is a rather large target, and if this gets taken out, all of the damage that is routed into here will then spread out to the things it's connected to. So how that works is, if there is, like, for example, this has 1,000 health, and your bullet has 2,000 damage. So your 2,000 damage bullet comes in, whizzes past, hits right here. This thing is then taken out, and it subtracts 1,000 from that total. Because the bullet deals 2,000, it still has 1,000 damage to spread out to anything else. So because it only has 2 connection points, 500 damage is going to go here, and 500 damage is going to go down there. Obviously, with this thing mounted directly onto this cube here, because this gun's been pushed back, well then, that mount is now gone rather easily. So if you find some other way of mounting this, that would be pretty good. Maybe just simply move the strut forward, or remove the strut entirely, so it's not just damage routing into a single cube, which also happens to be the mounting point. Other things I do need to talk about, the hovers here. Now, like I said, they are the smaller hovers. Honestly, you probably want to go with the bigger hovers. They will provide a slightly higher speed bonus, but not only that, they will also provide more lift. So if your legs get taken out, you will still hover around a little bit more easily. And like I was saying, back here, if I just remove this for a second, this rod is going straight up, but honestly, what you should do is have it come out like this. Although, you know, pushed in one. So now your missile pod is mounted onto here, and if all these cubes get taken out, then at least this rod will still be holding onto it. Other than that, though, I guess I never really touched on the thrusters. Honestly, the thrusters are a little pointless. You would need a lot of thrusters if you want to move these heavy mech legs. Although, they are a little better than they used to be, but honestly, I think you could probably save the CPU and scrap them. If you want thrust, go with a propeller. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Like I said earlier, maybe swap these out, but that's about it. So, with that, guys, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. If you have any at all suggestions or bots you would like to have me review, add them down below in the comment section. I said it right this time. Normally I say the description, but you can't post there. Ha! Anyways, with that, I have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.